Okay, we're ready, Kathy.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting for Shafter City Council, Tuesday, January 19th, 2021. Like the record show, all members of council are present. I call upon Councilmember Lopez to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and Mayor Pro Tem Givens in the invocation.
All right. We stand. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. I just thank you that you are here with us, that you're giving us wisdom and guidance in every decision, and that we will talk about every conversation that we will have. Just be here in this place, and just thank you for everything you've done and that you are going to do. We thank you and love you. Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you. The approval of agenda. I have no changes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, Caesar?
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lopez, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Givens. Approval of agenda.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Givens,
Yes.
Alvarado,
Gilbert, you're on mute, by the way.
yeah, I see he motioned thumbs up, so yes. And Councilmember Espinoza
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. Okay, the first item for tonight is a presentation for the introduction of our accountant manager.
So, Mayor and Council, I'm going to have our Administrative Services Director, Bryce Atkins, make the introduction. Bryce?
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. We are joined tonight by Rocio Mosqueda. She's the city's new accounting manager. Just as a way of introduction, she has 21 years of experience in government finances across two cities, Wasco and McFarland. She has held positions ranging from accounting technician to accounting manager and administrative services director. She has her bachelor's degree in business administration with courses in financial and managerial accounting, and also is bilingual. She's definitely a great hire for us. And Rocio, if you have any words for council.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity that I have been given by City of Shafter. I am eager to serve the community and serve under the direction of the City Council and our City Manager. Staff has been great. I have experience with Tyler and Munis from the other cities, so I'm super excited on just being part of the team and just taking our customer service to the next level. That's about it. Thank you.
Well, welcome. We appreciate having you too. So good luck to you too, as well as for our city.
Thank you, Mayor.
Any other presentations, Jasmina?
None at this time, Mayor.
Okay. I'd like to move on. Public comment time. Anyone have any public comment time?
No public comment at this time.
Okay. Okay, we'll move on to council announcements and reports. Chad, do you have anything?
Takes a second to click the button to unmute it. Don't you love technology? Been a busy few weeks. I know we had a couple meetings last week, but really nothing major to report on at the time.
Okay. Let's go on down the line. Alvarado?
I just want to, I don't have nothing to report other than I just want to say, I just want to welcome Rocio, the accounting manager. Welcome on board and wish you the best. That's
okay. All. Lopez?
Not much to report at this point. Just today's probably the best day I've had so far in the last few weeks. Physically, after recovering from this, from COVID-19, let's continue to be safe out there and try to avoid getting it. We're in very tough times right now on society and in our country. And please watch take care of yourselves. I know it affects everybody differently. I was very fortunate and recovered pretty quick, even though I'm still having a few symptoms after testing positive on early January. But that's all I got to report. Stay safe, everybody. Rocio, welcome to the team, and look forward to working with you. And congratulations.
Okay, and Mr. Pete Espinoza.
Likewise, I'd like to welcome you, Lucia, to the team. I just got through finishing with all of my one-on-one meetings with the department heads. And I'd just like to thank each and every one of them for the time that they gave me. They were very thorough and it was very informational. I'd like to thank Gabriel and Yasmina for putting all that together. And the city is very fortunate to have such a dedicated team working for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, consent calendar. Oh, I guess I should mention, I did have one meeting I attended, which was for AB 617 on January the 11th. And they usually give us an update as to their air monitoring and what's going on. And then also our own Michael James did a presentation on projects that could direct some more funding for the Shafter area. And they tried a survey to see what others on the committee felt that we could spend money on. So there are no other results or decisions at this time, but money needs to be allocated by June of 2022. So we'll be hearing more about it as we move along. And once again, welcome to Rocio. I hope to come in and meet you sometime and welcome you again. So enjoy your time in finance, but also, as you said, with the team of Shafter. Thank you. Okay, consent calendar.
I have no questions. I'm motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar.
Councilmember Espinoza,
Yes.
Alvarado,
Yes.
Givens,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the first item on public hearings. Let me flip some more pages over here. The first item is a community development block grant CBDG finance fiscal year for 2021-2022 project application.
Mayor and Council, this is somewhat of a routine ministerial item that we bring to you every year as part of our CDBG allocation that we receive from from HUD, Housing Urban Development, at the federal level through the county, and we're required to hold a public hearing to take public input from the residents. This evening, our Public Works Director, Mike James, will give you the staff report and it'll be available for any questions. Mike?
Certainly, Honorable Mayor, members of the Shafter City Council, on an annual basis, the city is allocated community development block grant funds or CDBG funds. Our funding is overseen and administered by the County of Kern. For this year, the county has made staff aware that the next funding allocation is valued at approximately $120,000. In past years, the city has used CDBG funding for mostly park and street improvements. The most recently completed project that used CDBG funds was the Laredo Highway street median improvements that took place between Beach Avenue and Mantle Avenue. After considering past and recent public feedback concerning the needs of the community, staff is suggesting that the city combine this year's funding allocation with the previous 2 years of funding allocations that have yet to be awarded formally through a funding agreement by the county. The previous two funding allocations, as of right now, are targeting improvements at Mantle Park and Veterans Park, and mostly lighting improvements, both security and field lighting. At this time, these improvements are viewed to be underfunded with the 2 years of funding that we've accrued so far. So consolidating 3 years of funding would amount to about $400,000. So that should be enable us to complete these substantial lighting improvements that are needed. with any CDBG funding allocation, the council is required to conduct a hearing to allow for public input on how the funding should be used. Notice of this hearing was published by the city clerk, and as previously pointed out, staff is considering mostly past public input through the surveys and citizen engagements that we've done in our recommendation to continue funding park improvements. So at this time, staff requests that the council conduct the hearing, and at the conclusion of the hearing, consider adoption of Resolution 2769, which would formally authorize the use of these 21-22 funds. And this resolution can be amended if so desired by the council to focus on an alternative project. And that concludes the presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to open comments for or against Community Development Block Grant funding application. Any comments at all received?
No comments received.
Okay, are there any questions or comments from the council?
I have a question. Mike, you were saying that this is for Veterans Park and also for Mantle Park, you said?
Yeah, the past project applications that we've submitted haven't committed, so it could go to either park. We've heard a lot of feedback from the residents about possibly adding field lighting for the soccer field to Veterans Park. And there's also a need at both parks for enhanced lighting for security purposes. So it's a pretty flexible application at this time. We haven't, formally developed a scope of work to put out the bid or anything like that, because we frankly haven't received a funding agreement yet to really even enable us to move forward. But again, we're looking at $400,000 that could be utilized at both parks or either park.
Okay.
Once we approve this, can it even be in effect within this year?
Well, it's up to the county. I mean, we put the county on notice that this is what we were proposing to the council tonight. And if they wanted to get started on a consolidated project with 3 years of funding, it could very well happen this year. We probably won't really have a forecast on that for another few months, I wouldn't think, but it is possible.
Because the Veterans Park definitely needs the lighting, right?
That's what we've heard, particularly field lighting, but also lighting for the walking trails and the interior of the park as well.
Right, okay.
I was gonna say that either park would be good, Mike. Like Kathy just brought up about Veterans Park for the soccer field. Mantle Park needs a little more lighting, even for the events that we do have. Community events, like we have the Cinco de Mayo, we have the Christmas parade, we have I think Colors has their barbecue cook-off, and people also use that park a lot. So lighting, and I guess is critical. And I think either park would work, because to say one side is better than the other, you can't say that, because they're both important. So is there a way maybe splitting it, Mike, or just taking on, or has to be all 400 allocated to one park?
That's both.
No, it could be, we could prepare a set of construction plans that it covers both parks. It doesn't, I think the county understands that we have needs at both parks, and we have in the past developed project plans that had multiple project sites.
Okay.
And the money should be enough, shouldn't it?
It should be enough to at least do the field lighting. We need to take a closer look at what our options are for Veterans Park field lighting. But I think a good idea might be to explore this further, maybe during strategic planning, when we're getting into forecasting next year's projects and budgets.
Good, okay.
Yeah, as far as Veterans Park, I've heard that quite a bit, especially for security purposes. And that's come up quite a bit of time. So whether it's through the CDBG grant or during strategic planning, something needs to be done out there. Even the walk where people walk around, and there's certain sides on the backside where there's no lighting whatsoever, and a lot of people are still walking in the evening, 6 p.m. and it's dark already, and then you get some people hanging out because it is dark out there, just to be hanging out. So it's very much needed out there, that's for sure. But like I said, whether it's through the CDBG grant or through strategic planning, I think we need to put a little bit of focus and emphasis on that area as well in the future.
Hey, Mike, so we have 2 rounds of funding that have already been approved, but we haven't received the actual money yet, correct?
Correct. The last project that we did receive the funding, actually receive a funding agreement for, dates back 3 funding cycles.
So I agree with where we're at. I've used both parks. I've used both parks at nights for the services we're talking about. The lighting is important. However, if we're not going to be able to use that right now, will they reimburse, or do we have to wait for this funding to come in?
We have to wait for the funding. Otherwise, we have no pathway to get reimbursed without an agreement.
Because I mean, we're 3 years out on some of our 3 cycles out, but let's just call it 3 years theoretically out on some of these. So what is the real timing of something like this actually being approved and usable? I mean, because doesn't sound like a project that we're going to be doing in the next 6 months. And I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here. I'm trying to be realistic, because I'd rather have this done now and be ready when it's needed.
Well, I've always said that CDBG money is not meant to use if you're in a hurry. One option with Mantle Park is that we have received a state park grant that is pretty flexible, that we've kind of identified lighting up picnic areas and a dog park. We could probably focus that particular grant, which is on a faster track for lighting improvements at Mantle. That we are targeting Mantle with that particular grant. But otherwise, no, we're kind of at the mercy of the funding agreement if we're going to utilize the CDBG funds. And if we're going to go through the CDBG cycle when it comes to monitoring all of the requirements that go into authorizing a project to go out to bid because you're using federal money, it's ideal to kind of do it only once, and not have to do like 3 separate years. I mean, this makes things a lot more efficient. Once we have that consolidated funding agreement with 3 years of allocations. But again, I think your 6-month projection is pretty realistic. I wouldn't expect to break ground on any lighting improvements if CDBG is the source.
Well, we can discuss it more than at strategic planning. Maybe we'll know for sure.
Right.
Correct. And the application or the contact that we have with the county won't commit. So if we decide to go in a different direction with the lighting to put it on a faster track, then we can utilize CDBG for other improvements.
I'll say this now though, because I think I heard the words come out of your mouth. A dog park would be great. A dog park at Mantle Park would not be great. Mantle Park is too congested as it is, especially once the schools kick in. There's, during football season, cheer season, whatever the case may be, that park is horribly congested. Again, it'd be nice to have one. I just don't think it'd be nice to have one there.
I understand, and you're not the first person that's suggested that. So before we really proceed with the project to put out the bid, and we'll further discuss that, I hope, during strategic planning or another forum.
Yes, please.
If there are no other further remarks,
Mayor Prout, can you please close the public hearing? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. If you did, I'm sorry.
no, I was just asking for any other input.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If there is no other, okay, I'd like to close the public hearing, and I'd like a motion to adopt resolution number 2769.
Make a motion to adopt resolution as read.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
Givens,
Yes.
Alvarado,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. Second item is to introduce ordinance number 723 to adopt the zone code amendment number 20-14.
Sorry, Mayor and Council, these next 4 items all are coming to you from planning. So our planning manager, Wayne, will make the presentation on each of the next items. So with that, Wayne.
Honorable Mayor and members of the Shafter City Council. Good, we got our slides up. So the applicants for this zone code amendment, Jacob Walter and Stacy Hutchinson, had contacted the planning department previously to see what they needed to do to open up a firearms retail store and firearms repair store. And so planning went through the list of permitted uses in the commercial districts and found that no such use was listed. And upon further research, we looked at the past zoning ordinances and saw that at one time in the 80s, gun sales and repair were a permitted use. But when the zoning ordinance was updated in 1996, that particular use was removed from a permitted use in the commercial districts. So staff informed the applicants that they needed to submit a zone code amendment application to add that particular use to the commercial districts under the zoning ordinance, and they did. And next map, please. Next slide. Can we get that next slide, please? Oh, there we go. So staff started looking at, upon getting the application, we started looking at the three commercial districts in the city. We've got the downtown commercial district, which is illustrated in your map there as red. Then we have the general commercial district, which is illustrated in yellow along Central Valley Highway, East Lerdo, West Lerdo, and parcels north along Highway 43, north of the historical core area. Next slide, please. So we also have some outside the historical core area. We have some general commercial on East Lerdo Highway, just east of Highway 99. And we have a very a small designation, or it's large parcel on the north side of 7th Standard in the very southeast corner of town. That was zoned general commercial, so Daryl's could pursue a conditional use permit to put up a Daryl's mini storage. It was previously zoned residential, and they processed that use permit, which was approved by the Planning Commission several years ago, and they're constructing that right now. So those are the two commercial zone districts outside the historical core area. If City Clerk, if we could go back to that previous map. There we go. So in looking at the three zone districts, staff also noticed that there are only two parcels that are zoned for neighborhood commercial zoning. And those two parcels, if you look, they're on the west side of Highway 43 in the northern portion of town. One, it's in purple, and one is just north of West Tulare Avenue, and one is north of West Fresno Avenue. And so looking at the size of the parcels, and there were only two, staff in preparing the proposed zone code amendment decided that there's plenty of downtown commercial acreage and general commercial acreage that is both developed and vacant, that there was no need to include this type of retail use in those two parcels. So the proposed zone code amendment was excluded the neighborhood commercial zone district. Next slide, please. And the next one. So here's the proposal that in the commercial uses permitted list, we would the zone code amendment upon council's approval would add firearm sales, repair, and ammunition sales pursuant to section 11.310 of Title 17, and we'll get into that section next. But in the commercial district listing, when a use is not permitted in a particular zone district, there's a block in there, a black block that's put in there that indicates it's not permitted in that particular district. And then P is listed for permitted use as long as it's determined consistent with that. The use is consistent with the commercial district. And then if the particular use needs a prior approval conditional use permit, is C is provided next to that. But in this proposed amendment, the under the general commercial zone, the use would be permitted, and then in the downtown commercial zone, the use would be permitted, but not permitted in the neighborhood commercial zone district. Next slide. And this this additional amendment for the zone code proposal regards, staff looked at like other issues with, firearm sales. And the biggest issue that we found was that they're often broken into, people pursuing to steal the firearms in the store. And evidently there's no federal state regulations that requires a certain type of providing adequate storage for firearms stored in those sales. So this additional requirement requires that anybody that's obtaining a business license to sell firearms and ammunition in the two permitted zone districts would also have to first get a permit from the police chief demonstrating that they have adequate storage areas or equipment to store the firearms on that. So the first one states the purpose of the requirement, and then the general requirements that they have to get the permit from the chief of police. Next slide. And then there'll be a fee determined later after the chief of police has done one of these and has determined how much time is involved. And then of course we have the standard language for if the permit was not issued or if it needed to be revoked, and then the normal language for a suspension or revocation for the person to appeal that revocation. Next slide, please. So we've looked at this, and planning staff does really not have any issue with the proposed use being in the general commercial and downtown commercial zone district. Staff needs to note that in the industrial or employment districts, the industrial and business park zone districts, most of the commercial uses, permitted uses, are automatically allowed in those two employment districts. So if your council approves this zone code amendment tonight, firearms sales and firearms repair and ammunition sales would also be a permitted use in both the industrial zone and the business park zone. So with that, staff is recommending that your council introduce ordinance number 723, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Shafter adopting zone code amendment number 20-14, adding firearms sales, repair, and ammunition sales as permitted uses in the downtown commercial and general commercial zone districts under Title 17, zoning ordinance of the City of Shafter Municipal Code as set forth in Exhibit 1 of this ordinance for first reading and waive reading. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to open the public hearing for anyone who would like to comment for or against introducing to adopt zone code amendment number 20-14. Do we have anything already?
We did have the applicant online, but I do not see that her hand is up. We'll give it just a few seconds just in case.
We've received nothing else? Okay, there's a hand.
Here we go.
There's Stacy.
Hi.
Stacy, did you care to speak?
Not unless they have questions. Thank you.
Were there any questions of Stacy?
Do we know which location you're looking at?
Yes, we have secured the building at 321 Central Avenue in the downtown area.
I'm not exactly familiar with that address. Can you kind of give me a whereabouts?
It's about 3 doors east of Fabry Jewelers' old building. It was the old Humpty Dumpty. You're familiar with that? Used to be pink.
Okay.
That's the one.
I think there's some paper on the windows now.
Yes. Yes.
And if I may, through you, Mayor, that particular property is zoned downtown commercial.
Were there any other questions,
Um,
comments?
Are you going to do anything else besides firearms and repairs and ammunition?
Yes, our hopes and our goals are we want to do more of a recreational. My boyfriend, he has his FFL and he already has the business. We're trying to move it out here. but I want to do stuff for the community. Like when the sports open back up, I would like to make it available to the people in our city to not have to go to Bakersfield to purchase, their soccer gear, their baseball, basketball, and, just help the community in whatever way we can as far as recreational stuff.
Well, I, for one, am for new businesses coming into the area. And the idea of having a gun store in town sounds okay with me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to mention, just the opportunity, just like Councilmember Espinoza had mentioned that, just having a new business is actually something exciting for Shafter. And I think it's going to be a great thing, even for the fact that you said you want to help out with, with supplies, with the recreations and sport gears, and like a Big Five concept.
Yes, yes.
So something like that is great. I'm excited. I just can't wait to see you guys open up.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you remember when we had another sports store in town?
I do.
And it really did well.
Yes.
Yeah. So that sounds like it would be an ideal thing to add to just the gun supplies.
Yes.
Super. Well, welcome you then.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Very good.
All right, at this time, I'm going to close the public hearing. And I'll give the last chance if anyone on the council has any other comments.
I just make a motion to approve as read, Kevin.
I'll second that.
Very good. We have a motion by Councilmember Lopez, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Givens, to adopt resolution to introduce ordinance number 7. Wait a minute, am I on the right place?
Introduce ordinance number 723.
723.
Yes, okay, I dropped down to the other one. Okay. Okay, roll call.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Alvarado,
Yes.
Gibbons,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Proud.
Yes. Okay, very good. We look forward to working with the new opening here.
Thank you.
Adoption for resolution number 2771, approving the general plan amendment number 20-34, and introduce ordinance number 722 to adopt a zone change number 20-68. Wayne?
Honorable Mayor and members of the Shafter City Council, the Myers Big Stop Market folks have submitted this application. If we go to the next slide. So the Myers Big Stop Market is located at 127 South Shafter Avenue, and you'll see it there right on the east side of the project site, which is labeled site. And they contacted staff, and what they want to propose in the near future is they have a gasoline dispenser right out in front of the store. And what they would like to do is move that to the north side of the store to open up more parking on the front of the store. They say between the folks getting gas and there's only 2 other parking stalls right out in front, that it's making parking difficult and for customers to get into the store and out fairly quickly. So they're looking at trying to do something on site where they can increase their parking and improve the circulation for their gas dispensers. So that's their plan. And so when we went out to the site to look at it, the first thing that we mentioned to them is that there's an alley adjacent on the rear side of their building, and you can't use under the zoning ordinance, you can't use alleys for commercial purposes. So to accomplish their future plan, they would have to somehow move that alley to the west. And the only way to really do that is to purchase at least one of the residential lots to the west, extend their private property or the rear of their building as private property, and then move the alley to the west. And they said, okay, we understand. And they started talking with the property owner that owned those 2 lots there to see if he would sell them to them for their future plans. And I need to note, as we're looking at all this, that the convenience store and gasoline station, the 2 combined, that particular type of use requires prior approval of a conditional use permit. So if your council approves this general plan and zone change tonight, the Myers Big Stop folks still have to obtain approval of conditional use permit to move that gas dispenser to the north, add additional parking up front, and redesign the alley to move it to the west. So that's something they'll have to do if you approve the general plan amendment and zone change tonight. So in that, they decided to talk with the property owner, and they're looking at buying both those residential lots to give them more flexibility and redesigning the alley and redesigning their property for the site. So what I'd like to do is just go over their proposal real quick, show you the existing general plan land use designation for the area, and then the zoning, and then get back to the proposed recommendation. You'll see McDonald's is adjacent on the north there, and McDonald's did this very same thing when they redesigned and expanded that facility a couple of years ago. They added the new drive-through, 2-lane drive-through, and so they bought the adjacent lot to the west, and they had to do a conditional use permit to do that. They had to put up an 8-foot tall block wall to add that extra drive-through, extended drive-through, to protect the residences to the west. And let me tell you that when a block wall at 8 feet really does an incredible job of reducing ambient noise from drive-throughs and the speakers on drive-through. So in the future, if your council approves this general plan and zone change, the Myers Big Stop folks would have to do the same thing in extending this project to the west. Next slide, please. So here's the general plan land use designations for the area. The Myers Big Stop Market is commercial, professional office. Same with McDonald's. Across the street to the north, Taco Bell site is commercial, professional office. And so the applicant is asking to change those two existing medium density residential sites to commercial, professional office. And you'll see that medium density residential is further to the west and also to the south. Next slide. And then the zoning, the Myers Big Stop site is zoned general commercial, McDonald's general commercial, the Taco Bell site is general commercial, and the project site is currently zoned R2, medium density residential. Same with the properties to the west, and the applicant's requesting that you change that from R2 to general commercial. Next slide, please. So here's a better aerial that we can zoom in on what Myers Big Stop folks are proposing. So you can clearly see the gas dispenser on the east side of the structure. You see the two parking lots right there up in front. They want more parking lots up front. Move that dispenser on the north. This means that when folks come in to get gas, they would come in from Shafter Avenue, pull up to the gas dispensers, and then they would exit to the west, and then go down would be the Myers Big Stop's private property. It'd be there'd be their traffic circulation for the gas dispensing. To the rear of the property would exit onto Beth Eden Avenue, and then extend out to or travel to Shafter Avenue. And then you'll see the two lots adjacent to that. They currently both have 2 residential units on that. Such a proposal requires at least one of those residential lots. It's my understanding that they're going to buy both of those residential lots for the proposal. So staff, we've looked at if the alley was moved to the west. That alley is really for, picking up trash by the city and for folks that live there to get access to the rear of their property. The circulation of the improved gasoline station and market would simply go at the current location of the alley. So that's where they'd be coming out, and the folks would be coming out there after getting gas and getting on Beth Eden and heading east back to Shafter Avenue. Next slide, please. So staff likes the proposal. We think it's going to work. And so staff is recommending that your council approve resolution number 2771, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Shafter approving general plan amendment number 20-34 to amend the land use designation of the project site from medium density residential to commercial professional office. And council introduced ordinance number 722, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Shafter adopting zone change number 20-68 to change the zoning on the project site from medium density residential or R2 to general commercial for first reading by title only and waive reading. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to open a public hearing for any input for or against this project. Did we receive anything in advance?
No, we have not received any comment.
Should I wait just a bit and see if somebody calls in or has any other comments?
No, we asked residents to register, so we did not have any residents for this particular item.
We would not have any advance or any notice of calls in at all. Okay, I'll, since there is no comment from the general public, we'll close that. And does anyone on the council has anything they want to ask or have comment?
I got a
That's what I'm-
question. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna make a comment about the parking. They do need parking. I've gone in there like 4 a.m, 5 o'clock sometimes, and they got so much people going all over the place. You can't even put gas, and people that put gas get caught. They even use a sidewalk as a parking there at times. So definitely they need to. It's a great idea. It's a plus. It's gonna be excellent for them.
Yeah, as you know, whenever I drove over there and parked over at the side, they already park on the street on Beth Eden because you don't want to get caught in the parking lot.
Yeah, if you try to put gas, you can't get out. You get trapped sometimes.
I'm surprised they didn't realize that when they put it in.
Well, I got a comment. This is actually a great idea to me as well. There's only 2 options in Shafter, an entire city of Shafter, to get diesel for our normal pickups, which is, I believe, the Shell station on Laredo Highway and Fast Train. There is no other option. Sometimes it's too packed. You can't even get diesel from those areas. So you just gotta wait. I believe from what little conversations I've had with the owner's son there, or the owner himself, they want to do an option to have diesel pumps if that would be approved as well, which is a great idea. It's an awesome idea. It's a good expansion, and it's going to offer more variety for the community. Plus, it's already busy as it is. All they're going to do is make it more convenient for everybody else and the existing customers that they have already. And they have put a lot of money into that store renovating. You can just see it compared to what it used to be. They have made it look very well, and they do care about that business. It's a very viable business, and it's very much needed, this expansion.
Have you ever tried the card lock down here on Beach?
No, ma'am. That's only when I was in the oil fields. That's the only time I ever did.
Yeah, because they have a diesel there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is true. I mean, the store is very, very busy.
I have a question for Wayne.
Yes, council member Espinosa.
Yes, Wayne. I like the idea, but have we looked into, that's going to bring a lot of traffic coming around that building onto that question, right?
Yeah, no, and that's a good question. And I've looked at that, and the planning commission also brought up, what if they only use one of the lots and what happens to the other lot? And it would be really inconvenient. I mean, folks already go down Beth Eden already after getting services there, but it's much more convenient just to get on Shafter. So we see most of the traffic circulation after it gets around the rear of the building, simply heading back to Shafter. It'll only be the folks that already go down Beth Eden after they go there. We don't see any increase on traffic. It would slow you down a lot to get where you want to be. It would slow you down a lot to go down Beth Eden.
Yeah, I'm not talking about going west. I'm talking about you come around the building, that traffic, even coming back to Shafter Avenue, that's not going to be an issue with the people across the street and everything?
No, no. In fact, I think folks already do that quite a bit. They already go around. So,
Yes, they do. Yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
said I drove over there and watched.
so
Yeah.
if we'll make sure they design it well, so it works for everybody in that location. And we'll be
Yeah.
able to do that
Good.
through the conditional use permit process.
That sounds good to
And
me.
I'd like to, yeah, I think too, if you go look at it, you'll see both of those lots need to be cleared.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're not we're improving something, but then creating something else. But if everybody's okay with it, I'm okay with it.
Very good.
Well, it was the same thing putting the station in. I mean, look at it, created a huge problem for them.
Mhm.
Any other comments? Okay, do I need to have two separate motions for the resolution and the ordinance?
Yes, Mayor, I would recommend that we have two separate motions.
Thank you.
Others, Marco?
Okay, I'd like to have a motion to adopt resolution number 2771.
Make a
I'll move
motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Givens, seconded by Councilmember Espinoza.
Councilmember Espinoza,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Givens,
Yes.
Alvarado,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes, the next one is to introduce first reading by title only and waive reading for ordinance number 722.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Lopez, seconded by, was it Givens?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Pro Tem Givens. Roll call.
Councilmember Espinoza,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Givens,
Yes, ma'am.
Alvarado,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. Thank you, guys. We'll move on to number 4, which is to introduce ordinance number 721 to adopt amendment number 1 to amend and restated development agreement number 18-16 for tentative track number 7318.
Honorable Mayor and members of Shafter City Council, you've seen this development agreement on numerous occasions. This is the final revision for this development agreement.
Hey, Wayne, can I stop you real quick?
You bet.
Hey, Jasmina, am I going to need to excuse myself from this one?
Yes.
Okay.
Councilmember
Yeah,
Lopez.
I actually live right across the street, so I'm gonna have to excuse myself from this one.
Thank you, Councilmember Lopez.
Do you have to lock him out, Rosvina?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I will send him into a work breakout room. Just one moment.
Should we
Thank
wait?
you.
Just let me know when, Yasmina.
Go ahead.
Okay, so this development agreement is for tentative track 7318 to build 158 single-family residential homes at the site location that you see on the map. Next slide, please. And here's the tentative track map that your council approved back in 2017. And I would like to point out for your council that the property owner, Good Dirt LLC, is being represented tonight by Allison Paula. She is here tonight if you have any questions for the developer. Next slide, please. So you approved the original development agreement back in 2019, and it was recorded in 2019. And then a new developer proposed some new homes at the same site, and they asked that the development agreement be amended to propose their particular housing product. But that particular proposal fell through, and the development agreement was approved and recorded, but we were told that they were not proceeding with that development anymore. Next slide, please. So the current property owner requested that the amended agreement be amended one more time. They have their own product that they would like to build on the project site, and those house plans are in Exhibit E of the development agreement. And the smallest home is 1,469 square feet in size, but the minimum average for all of their homes across the development, they have some large homes as well. The minimum requirement for the development would be 1,800 square feet across all 158 residential lots. They agree to pay the $162,762 to complete the offsite sewer requirements for the development. And they've agreed to pay, in addition to the other park fee and traffic impact fees, to pay a traffic signal fee of $500 at the issuance of each building permit. Next slide, please. Staff likes the new house plans. They'll fit really well at that location. And the property owners agreed to all the original conditions of approval and all the conditions that are added to the development agreement to get the offsite sewer requirements done. So staff is requesting your council to introduce ordinance number 721, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Shafter adopting the addendum to the mitigated negative declaration that was adopted for general plan amendment number 16-28 and zone change number 1663, and adopt amendment number 1 to amended and restated development agreement number 1816 for tentative track number 7318 as set forth in exhibit 1 of this ordinance for first reading by title only and waive reading. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to open the public hearing for anyone who cares to address council for or against this development, 7318. Did we have any comments? Anything brought forward?
I just had a quick question. I was just wondering, those telephone poles that are actually like in front of the property, are those going to go underground? Or
Yes,
light poles?
Councilmember Alvarado, they all have to go underground. They have to be removed. Yeah, so that's one of the conditions of approval for the map. And all of those conditions of approval are encompassed under the development agreement. So they will be removed to improve the site and prepare the map for recordation.
Thank you. That's all I had.
Is there any other public comment, Yasmina?
Not at this time.
Okay, I will close the public hearing. Are there any other questions or comments for staff?
Yeah, so you've got land development that's already started. Once, and I guess this question may be more for Allison if she's on, but once this track has been recorded, how quickly are you guys starting the model home process? And how quickly are we going to actually see sticks in the air with the house being built?
Of course, it would be our preference, and thank you, council member. It would be our preference to get them built as quickly as possible. We are looking at a 60 to 90-day window to complete the infrastructure, the underground and the asphalt paving. And then assuming that the map is approved, we would be able to throw some sticks up as soon as possible after that. So in a perfect world, I would say 90 to 120 days. Sooner if we can, but that's the current estimate in terms of completing the site development.
Okay.
You don't by chance have any homes already for sale?
Legally, you can't.
I know we can struggle, but you see, we're desperate, huh?
Yeah, and so far I am the sole contact. I should have, when I started this endeavor, I should have gotten a burner phone because I am now the only contact for people who are interested in homes, and it seems like a pretty good location for us to be building. So we are grateful for that.
Yes. So where do you originally come from?
I was born and bred in Bakersfield.
Oh, okay. So you're still local. Good. Any other comments for Allison?
That complex, that building site, is it going to have a wall perimeter around it, or what's going to be around the outside edge? Just going to be street wall?
Councilmember Espinosa, there's a block wall in the front along West Tulare Avenue. And then they have a special requirement for a fence along the western and northern side of the property that has a concrete foundation, very similar to the wall for the residential development to the south. In fact, that's when the map went through, that idea was implemented I believe at the council meeting, It was added as a condition of approval that that type of fencing be put in along the western boundary, northern boundary for the adjacent farming. And then it'll be standard a wood fence for most of the eastern, but then when it gets up adjacent to Metler Avenue, it becomes a block wall again.
Okay, so no half streets, right?
No half streets, right?
Perfect, okay.
That was going to be the next question, actually. So this emergency in and out, and that might be it's a Wayne and Mike question. So Wayne, that street we're having a fully built out street. It's not just a small emergency access street.
No, well, for the residential development to the east, there's only a pedestrian access being proposed. Originally, it was going to be a through street.
Right.
And that was that proposal was changed to just a pedestrian street. And if you recall, it was a long time ago, but originally there was only one access point from West Tulare, the original design.
Correct.
And that was changed at the very end with your council's approval to add two ingress egress points along West Tulare, and then change the access along the eastern boundary just to pedestrian access, so kids from that housing area could walk to school through the new development and get down to school through that development down to West Tulare and down to school.
So on the northern access here, and my screen, it's really
to the very north.
Is that Wagner Street?
Well, let's go if we can get the city clerk to go back to the slide. We can go back to the track map and look at that real quick, if that's possible, Yasmina. If not, it's fine. Yeah, there's a planned access to the north for however that property to the north develops. So there's an extension that will be just simply fenced for now. It'll be improved to the northern end of the property, and then a fence put up, and then whatever develops on the north side, there's a possibility for that road to extend to the north.
And that is a full road.
That is a full local road. Yep.
Now, Mike, is that butting up against the park?
I don't believe it's the park side, but it is abutting against the city's property. I believe
the Wagner Street runs right through the center of the city property, and it would be adjacent to the proposed park site.
That's something we can talk about down the road of potential city infrastructure that would connect into there and pull it back over to Fresno. Correct? Something to at least allow North Park access out of North Park to the west, and then push them onto either Tulare or Fresno. I guess not really Tulare because they would have to go through this development, but you see what I'm looking at there.
Well, I think some North Shafter residents expressed some concerns about roads being extended to Wagner Street because they were concerned about the traffic going through their neighborhoods to get to Highway 43. But I think Wagner Street would be a critical link between the park site and the neighborhood that we're talking about tonight to access Fresno Avenue.
Absolutely. Okay. I just want to make sure that it's a full street and it's something we've already started discussing. I have no other questions. Thank you.
Okay, there are no more questions. Okay, then we can move on to let's see, introduced for first reading by title only and waive reading for ordinance number 721.
I will make a motion to approve as read, and Allison, good luck. And I hope your schedule moves quickly for you.
As do we. Thank you.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Givens, seconded by Councilmember Espinoza. Roll call.
Councilmember Espinoza,
Yes.
Givens,
Yes.
Alvarado,
I just want to make a comment to Allison, and we finally get it done. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Start the clock.
and Mayor Prop.
Yes. Now, should we wait till you get Lopez back in?
Yes, please.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
We'll
you.
be watching. I love driving by, watching development.
Please do. If you see a big white truck out there, feel free to stop. But I guess that's everyone in
Oh.
the construction industry, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Love it. Yes.
Okay, Councilmember Lopez is back.
All right. Okay, we are ready for public hearing number 5, which is the tentative track 6555 time extension.
Honorable Mayor, members of the Shafter City Council, this time extension is for a tract that your council approved back in 2005, I believe. And it's for 72 lots, residential lots at the southwest corner of Fresno Avenue and North Shafter Fresno Avenue. This will be the final, or this is the final 2-year time extension request that the property owner could ask of your council to approve. As far as we know, there's no new state legislation that would extend this map, and they utilized all 6 years of this that are allowed under the MAP Act and the city subdivision ordinance to extend a track map for final map approval. So this is the final request that would, if your council approves it tonight, would expire in 2022. Next slide, please. So here's the track map. Fresno Avenue is would be your left side of the map. That's the north side of the map. It's really nice tentative track map design. Staff has always liked this design at that location. And it's unfortunate that this is the last 2 years because it would make a really nice development. But as you can see, if you've been by that property, they planted new trees on there and the trees are doing well. So I'm not sure. They'll have to make a decision what to do in the next 2 years. Next slide, please. So staff has looked at this request and we support it just because it's a good track design and there's no reason not to extend the map for another 2 years, its final 2 years. So staff is requesting that the City Council find that City of Shafter adopted a negative declaration for tentative track number 655 on December 6, 2005 under resolution 051801. Therefore, no additional CEQA analysis or documentation is required for the extension of time, and adopt resolution number 2767, approving a 2-year extension of time for tentative track number 6555, subject to the conditions approved by the City Council on December 6, 2005 to expire on December 6, 2022. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to open the public hearing for anyone who cares to address the council for tentative track number 6555, time extension. Do we have anything recorded?
No, Mayor Pro.
Okay, hearing none, receiving none. Any questions or comments from the council?
I don't mind motioning and approving a time extension. You know, I read through the extension of time document that they have to submit to us as they do this. You know, and keeping it alive for potential marketing purposes is one thing. It'd be nice if these projects actually happened instead of just holding on to it the way they have been. As long as they haven't, you know, started moving dirt and making a bigger mess than what may be there, I think it's fine just to kind of keep this time extension going. But hopefully something comes out of it. I just wish people would actually follow through with it and do something with it instead of holding on to it for, I guess at this point, 17 years. That's all I have to say.
If I may, Mayor, through you, Mayor Pro Tem Givens, staff tells this to potential developers that call in and ask about existing maps that are available for develop. And we tell them every time that the existing environmental documentations that's approved for these approved tentative track maps are worth their weight in gold right now. Because once the maps expire, the existing adopted environmental documentation is no longer valid, and they'd have to do a brand new secret process with meeting all the new laws and regulations regarding the California Environmental Quality Act and other environmental laws.
I agree with you. It's a background that I'm familiar with. I do this in my normal day-to-day routine. So I just wish this actually went through and happened. The growth here would be great, especially in that area. It'd be nice to see there. So anyway,
yes.
No other comments for me.
And there is no chance that they could sell it and it would allow someone else to extend it, because if they're not willing to sell, it's just still going to be the same.
That's correct, Mayor. It could not be extended. Even if they sold the property, it could not be extended any more than this final 2 years.
Right.
So the go ahead.
And all the other extensions that we have on other possible developments are the same way. They're all under ag, right?
They're getting, all of them are getting close to, they've got maybe one more time extension, or they're getting close to, their own expiration right now. So, and we have a number of tentative track maps that your council approved back in 2005, 2006, that are really nice tentative track maps, good development, and they're getting close. All of them are getting close to expiring. Probably about 1,200 lots total.
Yeah, and aren't they all in agriculture too? Active agriculture.
Yes, most of them are. Yeah.
Right. Any other comments? If not, I'll I guess Mayor Pro Tem Givens.
I've made a motion. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, for resolution number 2767. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Councilmember Espinoza,
Yes.
Alvarado,
Yes.
Givens,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to management reports. And the first item is introduction of ordinance number 724, deleting chapter 5.40 of the Shafter Municipal Code relating to surface drilling operations.
Sorry, Mayor and Council, we'll just let our planning manager continue, and he'll close out with a final staff report. Wayne?
Thank you. Honorable Mayor, members of Shafter City Council, the Title V of the Municipal Code, the title that contains business licenses, business taxes and regulations, has this provision in it that prohibits surface drilling for oil and gas production. And we've looked at this ordinance to try to find out the history of it, its purpose, and it evidently has been there for a very long time. And after looking at, it's my guess that this ordinance was in place when the city limits were no more than about a square mile. And it's been there. And in 1996, the city, in updating its zoning ordinance, adopted a whole new chapter on regulating oil and gas production and exploration. And since 1996, the last 25 years, the city has approved at least 10 conditional use permits for oil and drilling in the commercial and residential zone districts. That's what Chapter 9 requires. The chapter also allows permitted drilling with, of course, a state permit to do that. Permitted by right drilling in the industrial and ag zones. But there's only been one permit that the state issued within the industrial zone that's within the city limits, and that's between Los Angeles Avenue and Riverside, an industrial piece of property that's east of the Gold's Avenue alignment. There are some existing wells that were annexed in 2006 north of Fresno Avenue. When we did that annexation up there, there were some existing wells. And of course, in 2005, under annexation 77, when the city annexed down to 7 Standard Road, southeast portion of the town, a number of existing oils were included then. with that annexation. But since Chapter 9 has been active, the city has approved 10 use permits for oil and drilling, and one was permitted without a city permit with the state permit. And so this, there was a recent property transaction that occurred where this conflict, this inconsistency between Chapter 5.40 and the city's Chapter 9 regulations for oil and gas production, the zoning ordinance, caused a serious problem for that transaction. And they had to mediate that and find a resolution for that. And staff has been aware that this chapter existed, but it never created a problem, never created inconsistency. And so it was never proposed. But when this property transaction issue came up, it was obvious that we simply needed to propose to have that chapter removed, because it doesn't serve any purpose except to create an inconsistency with the city zoning ordinance. So staff is posing that the chapter be deleted. I believe we have a slide for that. Yes, Mina? If we don't, that's fine, but I believe we have one. I've got the proposed recommendation on it.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Give me 1 second.
that's
I'm
fine.
having some technical issues.
No,
I'm sorry.
yeah, if not, I can bring it up and I'll just read the.
I have it right here. Just 1 second.
Fantastic, thank you. So there, as you already, the mayor's already listed the proposal. Next slide, please. So the next slide is it just shows the ordinance, how small it is. It's a very tiny ordinance, 4 provisions, and I'm going to pull up the recommendation right now and read it to you, if I can. Okay, so the recommendation is council introduced ordinance number 723, an ordinance of the, whoop.
724.
That's the wrong one.
724.
Yep, thank you. Let me bring it up. Well, I thought it was. There it is. Okay, council introduced ordinance number 724, an ordinance of the city council of the city of Shafter, California, deleting chapter 5.40 of the Shafter Municipal Code relating to surface drilling operations for first reading by title only and waive reading. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, any questions from the council? Any comments? We'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to remove this from the ordinance. Thank you.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Givens, seconded by Councilmember Lopez, to introduce first reading by title only and waive reading.
Councilmember Espinoza,
Yes.
Alvarado,
Yes.
Givens,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
and Proud.
Yes. Second item is to amend the state lobbying and consulting services.
Currently, Mayor and Council, on June 20th, 20, the City Council approved a consulting agreement with Balance Public Relations, led by Dean Flores, former senator, retired, regarding the Shafter Municipal Community Correction Facility. The term for that initial consulting service was for a 6-month period from June through December of 2020. In December, the initial scope of work came to an end. That initial scope of work was to work to get a commitment from the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation to close the MCCF so that the city will not operate it at a loss. We achieved that task, and this MCCF closed on October 31st, 2020. However, as you have been informed, there is an issue related to a 99 one-year lease agreement between CDCR and the city that remains unsolved. The city has been working diligently to get a commitment from CDCR for them to relinquish that lease. However, to date, they have simply given us a no response with no reason or explanation as to why they will not relinquish the lease. We continue to work with Mr. Flores diligently to pursue both an administrative and legislative solution. However, as you are also aware, there was a change of CDCR secretaries. There's a new secretary that was appointed, and we are having to work through that. And then also legislatively, we received the lukewarm support from our own local legislators for them to champion this issue on our behalf. Again, no reason stated for that, but that's probably why I don't do politics. The city council and staff, we've talked about having a strong desire to have CDCR relinquish the lease agreement so that the city can pursue other opportunities for economic development, like a revenue generating type of business at the former site. However, until CDCR agrees to release its position on the lease, the city we basically have that empty facility in the center of our town, fenced off with barbed wire and gun towers near the center of the city, sitting empty. It's also important to note that the city will be responsible for mothballing the facility an approximate amount of $120,000 per year in operating expense at the facility. So therefore, it is imperative for us to continue working to find a solution to this issue.
Hey, Gabriel, I think your connection died. Gabriel, there. Kathy, I'm going to take that as a no. I think we may have lost him.
I think so too. I'm wondering, did we lose Yasmina too?
I'm here.
Yeah, so what do we do now?
I think he was just wrapping up.
Yeah, I think he was already done with his presentation.
Yes.
Yes,
and
according to
actually
this. Yeah, the only thing was to the extent of the retainer fee for Dean to continue. Marcos, so what do we do?
You can certainly entertain a motion to approve the extension of the agreement, and that would clear that action.
Okay, does anyone have any questions? Then our attorney can certainly take care of it for us. Do you have any questions? Otherwise, we'll entertain the motion.
We can extend it month to month.
No, he's asking for a 6 month.
6 months, okay.
I understand that, I guess for those listening, not quite sure what's going on and why we're extending it. I do understand the reasoning why. I would really like this. If we're not going to use it for for CDCR, a prison, then we need to be able to do something else with it. And if Dean feels that he can get this thing closed, then I'd like to see him retained. Let's get this thing closed and let's get this thing in our hands that we can do something with. Because right now I agree to, I think Gabriel's last words before he started dying on the phone were, we've got a eyesore in the middle of the town that we don't need to see there anymore. And I'd like to not see that. So I would make a motion to extend this out for another 6 months for $21,000. It'd be a total of $42,000 that will have been paid to him on this contract.
Yeah, it's $3,500 a month. Do I have a second on the motion?
And Council, I just want to let you know that Gabriel is trying to connect by calling in.
Yes.
So just giving you a heads up.
Should we just wait a minute?
I'm for waiting.
Yes.
He is just connecting now.
Is Dean Flores available to make a comment, Council?
He's been helping us for the last 6 months, and he would continue for the next 6 months.
Okay.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what happened. I shouldn't have been talking about MCCF and CDCR. It looks like I got locked up.
Yeah. You were close to the end about going into the fact that
I was.
And,
Yes.
yes.
So I'm just going to have to go by audio, Mayor and Council, because somehow I can't connect via Zoom.
Okay.
Resuming my staff report, as I was saying, we attached the agreement as part of the agenda item, and the amended agreement is for an additional 6-month period from January 4th to June 30th. The retainer fee will remain at the same amount, $3,500 per month. And so at this point, we're recommending to go ahead and approve the 6-month amendment to the agreement with Balance Public Relations. Moving forward, Mr. Flores has put together a 2-prong approach to hopefully resolve this matter with the upcoming state budget hearing. We've been working with our city attorney's office as well as Dean. We've already talked to state legislative council, and we have draft language ready to submit to either one of our local legislators or one of the chair of the committees over public safety that oversees CDCR to get some legislative language in the budget. So with that, Mayor and Council, that concludes my staff report, and I'm available for any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad you're able to get back on. Is there any other questions for Gabriel? Okay, we had a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Givens. Do we have a second?
I'll make a second motion to extend the 6-month term.
Okay. We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Givens, second by Councilmember Espinoza to extend this state lobbyist for another 6 months.
Councilmember Espinoza,
Yes.
Alvarado,
Yes.
Givens,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. Okay, the third item is the Countryside Car Wash purchase and sale agreement.
So, Mayor and Council, this would be a tag team presentation between myself and our Economic Development Director, Bob Meadows. This evening, you approved a number of zone changes and ordinances related to other development projects. This one here before you is another economic development opportunity for Shafter and a well-known business company and individual that already has existing business in the city of Shafter. So with that, let me have Bob give you the presentation on what this entails with the requested approval of a purchase and sales agreement for this parcel. Bob?
Thank you, City Manager Gonzalez, Honorable Mayor, and members of the Shafter City Council. This property for sale is the old Brookside property, and on the 3 contiguous parcels there at 402 Central Avenue, running from north to south, the borders Central Avenue down to Laredo Highway. Again, as he stated, Rick Josh is the developer, and the Rick Josh Inc. would be the purchaser. You are familiar with him in the city of Shafter for his development. He first approached us last February about purchasing the property, which covers a little over 3 acres. The building at 402 was the former location of Brookside Deli and the current location of the Shafter Press. The second story is being used by the city as a storage facility for seasonal items. The building had been listed for leasing since Brookside vacated in early 2018. On the property, the buyer intends to construct, own, and operate the second and newest location of Countryside Car Wash, which will become the first ever drive-through car wash facility for the city of Shafter. He will also include a deli, sandwich shop, market type operation at the north end. And at the south end, he is looking to set up a drive-through coffee kiosk with potentially a major brand. This parcel was, the 3 parcel property was appraised in May of 2020 at a value of $960,000. However, the preliminary title report showed a rail easement, which does infringe upon the usable amount of the property, leaving over 14,000 square feet unable to be developed. We reached out to BNSF about potentially relinquishing this easement, and we were told no. Additionally, the narrow shape of the property limits the potential businesses that can operate in such a design. The appraiser agreed that a car wash is one of the few and perhaps most effective operations for the property. Considering these restrictions, the buyer requested an adjustment to the sale price, which we had proposed to you before. After discussions, we settled on a reduction of 12% of the appraised value, a dollar figure of $116,480 from the appraised value. This figure was determined by combining the average appraised value per square foot of the 14,450 square foot area deemed to be unusable at an average of 526 per square foot, and then a 40,000 discretionary allowance for the unique challenges in development due to the difficult layout of the property. The Shafter Press newspaper office will need to relocate, and as a matter of fact, after the printing of this, they have in fact secured a location at 555 Kern Street, and they will be relocating at the end of this month. I was informed of that last week by Stan Wilson. This purchase sale agreement also contains, very importantly, a right of first refusal for the seller. That's for us. Should the buyer fail to develop the property within the first 2 years after the purchase.
Nice.
The repurchase price has been established as the then current appraisal price, or price value, discounted by at least the 13% proportion with the price discount that the buyer has received. From the gross sale proceeds of $843,520, the 6% commission to Central Valley Commercial Brokers will be paid, giving the city of Shafter net proceeds of $792,909, from which applicable escrow fees will be taken. We have established a 120-day escrow as the target. Operation of this retail business will generate us revenue, 1% sales tax revenue. The buyer also intends to invest approximately $2 to $3 million in it, into construction and into the improvements. On the PowerPoint, you see that what limited drawings we have, which show you the layout, the car wash operating in the middle. Still a few details on that to work out, of course, as he develops it. And we do note there that new jobs to Shafter, of approximately 30 of those. Many, of course, may be in the minimum wage category, but there will be management involved here as well. On the next slide, Yasmina, please. That is an initial drawing of a street. So as we would walk out of the City Hall parking lot, look there across the street of Central Valley Highway, this is something like we're going to see when this project is done. Next one, please. These are the shots from the Taft location that I took. This is not necessarily going to look the same here, but it will be similar of the entrance into the tube and the area where you can pay, and there are well-established memberships and those kind of things as well. Next, please. And this is how going into that. And I talked to Rick, and Shafter will have its own appropriate color scheme, exactly what we certainly haven't got that far in the discussions yet. But this is what we'll be looking at for the first time here. So our staff recommendation is that this agreement for sale of this property to Rick Josh Inc., we do recommend approval. And I'll be happy to answer any of your questions.
Does anyone on council have questions? Comments?
Our building's not going to look so nice sitting next to that thing.
Hey, what do you mean by that?
That's a pretty looking building. Good job, guys.
It's a lot better looking at railroad tracks.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, block them off. I don't want to see us lose the trees. Do they have to take all those out?
Not necessarily. There's still a few details to work out exactly what it's going to look like, but we feel confident that we're going to wind up with something that, of course, we don't have currently, so it's a first, and also something that's going to really look sharp because Rick does take a lot of pride in working with Shafter. He loves the people of Shafter. He's really concerned about giving us something that we can all be proud of and enjoy, and the residents will appreciate. So we expect it'll look good as we get into those final drawings, and we'll have a lot of input, I'm sure.
Yeah, it would be nice because they already have a developed frontage. That's the thing that I was looking for.
Yep.
Yeah, so it would look nice.
I
And I
like
think
the
there's-
idea. I like the idea of new business and then jobs too. So that's a plus for me.
yeah, that was the goal too, Pete. Any other
Good.
comments before I ask for a motion?
No, Mayor, just really quick to you and council, you will have an opportunity to see their plans. As Bob had said, these are just very rough preliminary that we have, but once they get into design, you'll have an opportunity to see what it'll actually look like. But we'll keep that in mind as we talk to Rick about his
Frontage.
proposed development and design. Yes.
Right, good. Okay, if we entertain a motion to approve the sale for this property at 402 Central.
I'll make a
I will,
motion.
second
right.
that.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lopez, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Givens to approve the sale of this property.
Councilmember Espinoza,
Yes.
Alvarado,
Yes.
Givens,
Yes, ma'am.
Lopez,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. Next item is the GAF Learning Center bidding process resolution.
So, Mayor and Council, this is a project that has been in the works for well over a year, to my knowledge. And GAF is ready to move forward in efforts to help them with their cost. This item is being brought to you for approval to streamline that process. And I'll have David Franz, our education director, provide you the details of the staff report. David?
Sure. Honorable Mayor, members of the Shafter City Council. This relates to the Building Dreams Together project, the expansion of the Learning Center that was presented to council in December of 2019. As a charter city, Shafter operates according to its own rules and regulations in contracting for public works projects. The Shafter Municipal Code sections 2.68160 through 2.68230 require that projects involving construction in excess of $15,000 undergo a competitive bidding process. And this applies to this project, even though it is being performed by an outside agency. However, these bidding requirements are not practical here and would not be advantageous to the project since the donor is willing to perform and pay for all the work required to complete the project. And since it's very unlikely that another vendor would be willing to do so, it makes the process of putting it out to bid sort of pointless. There is case law that allows for exemptions to be made in cases like this, and staff recommends that council approve this resolution to exempt this project from the city's competitive bidding requirements.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yes, it's going to be a nice project, and it looks like they're ready to start.
Yes, I mean, very, very soon.
Yes. Well, we have electrical. Yes, okay. Any questions, comments? Let's have a motion. Adopt resolution number 2770.
Make a
I'll
motion.
Make a motion.
I'll
I'll
second.
second that.
You can take it. I'll second.
That don't matter to me.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lopez, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Givens. Roll call.
Councilmember Espinoza,
Yes.
Alvarado,
Yes.
Givens,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. The next item is the sewer manhole coating work and reimbursement to the north of the river sanitary district in the amount of $223,908.
So, Mayor and Council, this is an item that is administrative in nature as part of the city of Shafter being a partner with north of the river sanitary district for the co-ownership of the wastewater treatment plant pursuant to the JPA between the two entities. And our public works director, I believe, is prepared to make that staff report. Mike?
Correct, sir. Honorable Mayor, members of the Shafter City Council, the city's wastewater is treated at a plant located off of a 7 Standard Road, a couple of miles west of Highway 43. The plant is co-owned with North of River Sanitary District, or NORSD. Their service area is mostly Oildale and Northwest Bakersfield, and they are the plant operator through a joint powers agreement with the city. NORSD also leads the operation and maintenance efforts for a shared pipeline along 7 Standard Road that conveys wastewater to the plant for both jurisdictions. Over the past couple of years, NORSD has led a very large and comprehensive manhole coating project to protect the integrity of the interior of the manholes from chemical and structural deterioration. The second phase of this coating project has been completed by NORSD, and they've submitted a reimbursement invoice for the city's share of the work. The proportionate share of the work is based on each jurisdiction's ownership in the by percentage in the shared pipeline. So based on the city's ownership percentage in the pipeline, our cost for our portion of this coating work is $223,909, and there are adequate funds available in this year's capital improvement program to fully fund the reimbursement. So at this time, we're requesting authorization be authorized. Reimbursement be authorized for NORSD. Thank you.
Okay, is there any questions, comments? Okay, we'll entertain the motion.
Caesar, did we both just get quiet because we didn't know who was going to say it first?
I'm waiting for Pete. Come on.
I'm waiting for Pete to take it.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
All right, Pete. You're
I'm
on.
gonna
Pete.
pass on that one. I'll go for it, but I'm gonna pass on.
So you make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Oh,
All
no.
right. I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Espinoza.
Thanks a lot,
seconded by
guys.
You're
Mayor
welcome.
Pro Tem Givens. Roll call.
I'm sorry. Councilmember Espinoza,
Yes.
Alvarado,
Yes.
Givens,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. Okay, I'm asking for city manager comments and reports at this time.
So, Mayor and Council, just a few items. One, I wanted to let you know, as you saw this evening with new employee introduction, that we'll moving forward as we bring on new employees, we'll include a presentation as part of the city council meeting so that we can introduce employees during these current situations via Zoom. So we at least get to hear a little bit about them, see their face, and you're also aware that we're bringing on new employees. So just information on that. As a reminder, Mayor and Council, we do have a special city council meeting scheduled for next Wednesday, the 27th at 4:30, related to that personnel matter that is coming back to you. The city attorney's office nor I are part of that discussion. You will have outside legal counsel, Mr. Kevin Dale, who will be in that meeting with you, going through the process as we continue to resolve that matter. Save the date. State of the county is scheduled for next Saturday, the 30th, at 7 p.m. and it will be broadcasted live on KGET Channel 17. For those of you that may be interested in hearing what's going on in the county. Speaking of state of events, not the county, in talking with Mayor Prout, we will be also planning to put together a state of the city that we can transmit to the community. We're working the details logistically on how we do that. Most likely it will not be a gathering, but most likely it might be a recorded video in some format that we're able to do a recording of Mayor Prout to provide a state of the city to the community. So more on that to come. A friendly reminder from our city clerk, the Form 700s, the statement of conflict are due April 1. If you have any questions, please contact our city clerk, Yasmina. And then also too, a new idea I wanted to launch for the community. As you know, I started on March 16, the very beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, and that really hindered my ability to get out into the community, get to meet our residents, business owners, key stakeholders. And so now that I've been with the city, almost completed my first full year, putting together what we coined a meet and greet, let's chat with the city manager. It'll be via Zoom, and hopefully we're able to get our residents and those that may be interested in just having a conversation or dialogue with myself. That is scheduled for Thursday, February 4th at 5:30. And like I said, that'll be via Zoom. In order to protect the event from getting bombed by these Zoom bombers or whatever they're called nowadays in the technology world, we're going to ask that anyone interested in participating contact Vanessa at City Hall, and she will take that individual's information and then send them the secure link to log on. So I did send out an email to you, Council, earlier this evening with the flyer. Feel free to put the word out, help me out, and hopefully I get a good turnout so that I could meet a lot more of our residents in our community. And then lastly, just a COVID-19 update from Public Health. They reported 530 new cases today, countywide, bringing our countywide total to 86,718. And that's an increase in just approximately over a month period of an increase of 33,204 cases since December 15th. That's how many new cases they've seen in approximately 30 days. There's 109 new cases being reported in Shafter in just the last 4 days. Our weekly total for last week, January 9th to the 15th, was 204 cases. As it relates to the San Joaquin Valley region, ICU availability is at 0 compared to 1.6 on December 15th. At this time, Public Health foresees that they'll continue to see a surge in those numbers and continue to be challenged with having beds available at the ICU. And with that, Mayor and Council concludes my report. I do know that our Public Works Director has a few items to update as well. So, Mike.
Yes, sir. Honorable Mayor, members of the Shafter City Council, on behalf of Public Works, I'd just like to update you on some projects and programs underway. With respect to COVID-19, the department, as of right now, is fully staffed or fully restored, which has enabled us to resume the brush program yesterday, and hopefully that'll last through February, barring any COVID detections in the future. But staying on the topic of green waste collections, the department received a draft plan from a contracted consultant for complying with looming organics waste diversion requirements that'll take effect next year. The most significant impact will likely be mandating green waste collections year-round throughout the city, including the core city residential accounts that are only currently required to receive refuse service. So we hope to share some specific options and recommendations with the council at a meeting as early as February. With respect to moving on to air quality improvements, as the mayor pointed out earlier in the meeting, I participated in the last AB 617 steering committee meeting. As you know, there's the likelihood that the millions of dollars can be committed to the Shafter area to improve our air quality. The challenging thing is that we have less than a year and a half to take advantage of this funding. And so there's a lot to accomplish, but fortunately we have mutually beneficial projects, including new gutters, sidewalks, bike lanes, and even electric vehicle charging stations that could be considered. So we'd like to have some details and proposals before you, hopefully as early as next month. And then finally, regarding groundwater sustainability, as some of you are aware, Shafter is one of approximately 20 members of the current groundwater authority, and the city has one seat with the board of directors. KGA is in place to achieve groundwater sustainability for our region of the county. Currently, the Mayor Pro Tem is our lead board representative, and Mayor Prout is the alternate member. I wanted to make the council aware that KGA staff has asked me if the city plans to update its representation for 2021. Just for your information, I'm going to pose this question to the council and let you know that the board designee typically participates in monthly meetings, which have been mostly virtual, but they have in the past taken place in downtown Bakersfield. And but the staff will generally be present at every meeting to provide support for the council member that is sitting on the board for a particular meeting. So if the council desires to consider updated appointments, staff can plan on putting that topic on a future meeting agenda. But if you'd like to pursue that, please reach out to me, the city manager, and we'd be happy to accommodate you. Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments for the department reports?
It doesn't hurt my feelings, Mike.
What was that?
It doesn't hurt my feelings if you want to put somebody else in that place.
I'll leave it up to the council. Just feel free to let me know how you'd like to proceed.
Mayor, if you'd like, we can agendize an item for the February 2nd meeting for this item to come up before council so that another city council member may wish to be appointed.
Are they still meeting on Wednesdays?
Wednesdays, yes, ma'am. 8 o'clock. Right now, it's kind of half Zoom, half meeting at the expo building over at the fairgrounds. But their ability and technology, I don't know how else to say it besides saying you can truly value what we have sitting here tonight when you get a chance to go onto the KGA meetings via Zoom.
Yeah, Wednesday mornings aren't good for me when we get back to normal schedule because I have an early morning meeting. But yes, we probably should put it on the agenda. We should have a representation there.
Yes, ma'am.
Will do.
All right. Any other department heads?
No, Mayor, nothing further.
Okay. And can you believe tonight we don't have any closed session? So I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I have
Pete,
one
you want that
question
one?
for Gabriel.
Oh, there he is.
What was that, Pete?
I have one question for Gabriel.
Okay.
Gabriel, I heard you talk about the 109 cases that we have in Shafter. Have we had any deaths related to COVID lately?
There is no breakdown.
None for that were reported in this morning's report from Public Health. I think last week they had some, but not today.
Yeah, but were you asking for Shafter, Pete?
Yes.
See, they won't give us a breakdown. They don't have it broken down
Okay.
by zip code.
Sorry, I misunderstood the question.
Yeah, that's all right. I had just asked that. That's why I thought that's what you were asking. But it is a good question. I mean, it would be, I know of a couple, but yeah, I have no idea what the percentage is. So, okay, motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Oh, we are adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Great job, everybody.